Welcome back, everyone, to the Deep Dive. We're here to sift through all the noise and really bring you the insights that count. And today, we're getting into something, well, deeply personal, but also incredibly empowering. We want to uncover some surprising truths about keeping up not just your health, but, real happiness and vitality, especially after you've crossed that wonderful 70-year mark. Now, this isn't going to be a list of don'ts, not at all. We're not here to tell you what you can't do anymore. Think of this more like a guide, just for you, to making choices, informed choices, that can genuinely light up your golden years, make them richer, maybe more fulfilling than you even imagined. We're going to explore 4 habits, and on the surface, they might seem totally innocent, but the research suggests they could be kind of silently, maybe even secretly, undermining our later life. So get ready to maybe rethink a few things, because what we're about to cover could really shift your perspective. Okay, let's unpack this.
Absolutely. And what's fascinating here, looking at all the material we've gathered, is that these aren't just, opinions or somebody's good ideas. These findings are backed by solid research, practical experience, too. It gives us a pretty clear roadmap. Our goal in this deep dive is really to boil down the most important nuggets of knowledge into something, well, tangible, something you can actually use. We want to help you understand why these habits, the ones to maybe step away from and the ones to embrace, are so incredibly crucial, especially for your daily life, your health, your routines after 70. This isn't just about avoiding problems. It's more about understanding the how and why behind it all and actively choosing steps for a more vibrant life, whatever your age.
Exactly. Couldn't agree more. And let's not waste any time. Let's jump right into that first habit. The one that can act like a slow thief of vitality. It's the danger of becoming socially isolated, gradually pulling back from those really meaningful human connections. It's a habit that can sneak up on anyone, really, but it seems particularly tricky as we get older.
It really can sneak up. And the severity of loneliness, well, the sources we looked at are stark. It's something we just can't afford to underestimate. We're talking about something way beyond just feeling a bit blue or, having an off day. This isn't simply an emotional thing. It's a full-on physical health crisis. There's groundbreaking research from places like Harvard Medical School, world-renowned, obviously, and the National Institute on Aging, which is the government's main agency studying aging. And it reveals something astonishing. Chronic social isolation. It's as dangerous to your health as smoking 15 cigarettes every single day. Just think about that for a second. 15 cigarettes a day, that impact, but silent, invisible, just from lack of connection.
That's a stark comparison, and frankly, pretty shocking. 15 cigarettes. Most people would run a mile from that.
Yeah.
So what exactly is going on in our bodies? What happens when we disconnect like that to such a severe degree?
Well, the consequences, physically and mentally, they're really devastating. When you isolate yourself, your brain literally starts to shrink. We're talking measurable reduction in brain volume, especially in parts crucial for memory, for cognitive function. Your immune system, your body's defense force, it weakens dramatically, makes you much more susceptible to catching things, infections, viruses, and slower to recover too. And maybe the most alarming thing for many people, your risk of developing dementia. It increases by a staggering 50%. 50. And if that wasn't enough, your chances of dying prematurely jump by an astounding 30%. That's compared to seniors who stay socially connected. These aren't small effects we're talking about. They are profound, life-altering impacts.
That's truly sobering. It really sounds like a whole system breakdown. Can you walk us through the science? Why does loneliness hit us so hard physically? What's happening inside?
It's deeply rooted in our biology, actually. When you're socially isolated, your body goes into what researchers call chronic stress mode. Now, this isn't just feeling stressed in your head. It's a physiological state. Your body thinks it's under constant threat. In this state, your system gets flooded with cortisol. That's the stress hormone. Useful short-term, but incredibly damaging when it's high all the time. And it also releases inflammatory compounds. These are things meant to help heal injuries, but when they're constantly circulating, they cause widespread damage and they speed up aging throughout your body. These chemicals, they work together. They accelerate aging right down at the cellular level. They actively damage your cardiovascular system, raise blood pressure, harm blood vessels, and they create this sort of perfect storm for depression, for anxiety, for cognitive decline. Essentially, you're fighting millions of years of your own evolution. Humans are fundamentally social. We evolved in tribes and communities. It was key to survival. When we cut ourselves off, we're literally going against our deepest biological programming, the programming designed to keep us healthy, keep us alive. It's like trying to run an engine on, well, the wrong fuel.
That's incredible. something that often just feels like a personal choice. Just wanting some peace and quiet can have such a deep and destructive physical effect. So here's where it gets really interesting. How does this habit, this social isolation, creep into your life? Often without even realizing it's happening. Because I can't imagine most people wake up and say, right, today's the day I become totally isolated and ruin my health.
Exactly right. It's almost never a conscious decision. It's so subtle at the start, almost invisible. Think about, say, Martha. Loved her busy job, the daily interaction. Then she retired, and suddenly things got quiet. It often begins with tiny changes, things that seem completely harmless. Maybe you don't answer the phone quite as often, let it go to voicemail. Think, oh, I'll call back later. Maybe you start turning down invitations, a neighbor's coffee morning, family dinner. Maybe you feel a bit tired, or just think, ugh, I don't really feel like dealing with people today. You might find entire days go by without a real meaningful conversation with anyone, and you might even tell yourself, I'm just enjoying some peace and quiet, finally getting some me time. When actually, slowly but surely, you're building these invisible walls around yourself. One missed call, one no thank you at a time.
And are there common triggers? Things that happen, especially for seniors, that might speed up this withdrawal process. It can't just be a simple preference, surely.
No, you're absolutely right. Often, like with Martha, it follows major life transitions. Things often outside our control. Retirement's a big one. Suddenly, that daily social structure from work is just gone. Leaves a real gap. The death of a spouse, or even a close friend or beloved pet, that's incredibly common and profoundly isolating. It can shatter your routines. Maybe adult children move away for jobs or their own families, or maybe health challenges start making it physically harder to get out and about. Any of these things can, understandably, make it easier to retreat. They chip away at those connections. But here's the critical thing to understand. Every single day you spend in isolation. That's a day you're speeding up physical and mental decline. You're potentially reducing your life expectancy. And you're robbing yourself of the joy, the purpose, the vitality that comes from human connection. It's cumulative. The longer it goes on, the harder it feels to break out of it.
Okay, so that paints a clear picture of the problem. Now, what does this all mean for you, the listener? Our sources really stress that the solution isn't just being near other people. It's about cultivating meaningful relationships, engaging in things that give you a real sense of purpose, of belonging. What are some practical, real-world examples? How can seniors actively fight back against isolation and stay connected in meaningful ways?
That's a crucial point, quality over just quantity. Intentional actions are absolutely key. For instance, you could look into joining a local senior center. They often have a fantastic range of activities, card games, book clubs, exercise classes, maybe shared meals. The why there is that they offer structured, low-pressure ways to interact regularly around shared interests. Volunteering is another incredibly powerful one. Find a cause you really care about, maybe the library, an animal shelter, a hospital, a school reading program. Doing that gives you a sense of purpose. It directly counters those feelings of uselessness that isolation can breed. You feel valued, needed.
Right, that makes sense.
Participating in religious or spiritual communities can also provide a strong sense of belonging, support, shared values. Or maybe take a class. Local community colleges often have great options, art, history, maybe learn basic computer skills. It keeps your mind sharp and introduces you to new people.
That sounds like fun, too.
Definitely. Joining hobby groups is similar. Book clubs, gardening clubs, walking groups, craft circles. These build connection around things you genuinely enjoy. And sometimes, it's simpler, just making it a priority to have real conversations with neighbors, family, old friends. Maybe schedule a weekly phone call or a regular coffee date. Or just make an effort to chat with people you bump into during your day. The key is being proactive, making it happen.
And the payoff for making that effort, for seeking out these connections. The research shows it's pretty remarkable, doesn't it? It sounds like it can actually turn around some of those negative effects you mentioned.
Oh, absolutely remarkable. The studies are really consistent on this. Seniors who actively maintain strong social ties, they experience significantly better memory function. That points to better brain health overall. They have lower rates of heart disease. Their immune systems are dramatically stronger. They get sick less often, bounce back faster. They show reduced inflammation throughout their bodies, which is a key marker for general health. And maybe the most striking finding, These connected individuals don't just feel better, they actually live longer, an average of 7 years longer than their isolated peers. So this really raises an important question for all of us, doesn't it? How can we prioritize this life-saving necessity, this need for connection? How can we treat it as seriously as we treat taking medications or eating right? Because honestly, it is that important for your longevity and your quality of life.
That's a really powerful way to frame it. Treating connection like medicine.
Wow.
And that focus on physical well-being brings us nicely to our second habit, the danger of stopping movement. Let's talk about adopting a sedentary lifestyle, maybe using age as an excuse, to just stop moving your body regularly.
Yes, this is another one where the evidence is just, well, brutal. A sedentary lifestyle, especially after 70, is profoundly damaging. That phrase, sitting is literally killing you. It sounds dramatic, I know. But when you look at the physiological impacts, it's honestly not far off. Every single hour you spend inactive, that's an hour you're actively accelerating muscle loss, bone deterioration, cardiovascular decline, even cognitive impairment. This habit, maybe more than any single disease, will eventually steal your independence and your quality of life, and often faster, more completely than you might think. Think of Arthur. He loved gardening, spent hours outside. Then a small knee issue made him sit more and more until his garden just wasn't tended anymore, and neither was his mobility.
That sounds pretty scary. And losing independence, that's a huge fear for so many seniors. Can you break down what actually happens? What goes on in the body when someone becomes consistently sedentary after 70?
Absolutely. It's like a domino effect, a cascade of decline. And it often starts with something called sarcopenia. That's the age-related loss of muscle mass and strength. And maintaining muscle is critical for healthy aging. Now, it happens naturally to some extent, maybe 3 to 8% per decade after 30. But, and this is the key, it speeds up dramatically, sometimes doubles or triples when you stop being physically active. For seniors, sarcopenia leads directly to frailty, to a much higher risk of dangerous falls, to a general loss of mobility, and eventually it can lead to that heartbreaking point where you can't do basic daily activities anymore. We're talking about things like climbing the stairs in your own home, carrying a bag of groceries, opening a jar, even just getting up out of a comfy chair without help. These are the building blocks of independence, and sarcopenia just chips away at them.
So it's not just about muscles then. Are other parts of the body hit hard by just not moving enough?
Oh yeah, muscle loss is really just the tip of the iceberg. Your bones, for example. Without the regular stress and impact of movement, they start losing density at an alarming rate. This significantly bumps up your risk for fractures, for osteoporosis. Makes a simple trip or fall much, much more dangerous. Your cardiovascular system, your heart, your blood vessels, it gets deconditioned. Less efficient at pumping blood and oxygen around. This leads to higher blood pressure, greater risk of heart attacks, strokes, and just generally feeling more tired, more easily winded. Your metabolism slows way down too, makes it easier to gain weight, harder to keep blood sugar stable, increases your risk for type 2 diabetes.
Yeah.
And maybe the scariest part for many, your brain starts to atrophy, just like an unused muscle. Studies consistently link sedentary lifestyles in seniors to significantly higher rates of dementia and Alzheimer's disease compared to active folks. It's a whole body decline.
It's truly concerning to hear all that, especially when, like you said about Arthur, so many seniors hold on to these, well, dangerous myths about exercise. What are some common ones you encounter? Why are they so harmful?
That's such a crucial point. Some of the myths we hear most often are things like, oh, exercise is dangerous for older adults.
Okay.
Creates a real fear of getting hurt. Or, it's too late for me. I haven't been active my whole life. That just breeds hopelessness, People often think they need fancy gym memberships, complicated equipment. They think, I can't afford that, or I wouldn't know where to start. And a really common one, I have aches and pains, so I should just rest. When often gentle movement is exactly what those joints need. These beliefs, unfortunately, they're literally costing people years of healthy, independent life because they put up barriers that don't really need to be there. Many people were active, then just stopped.
But the reality you're saying is actually the opposite. Much more hopeful. For someone listening who feels overwhelmed by that grim picture, what's the key takeaway?
Exactly. The reality is exercise isn't just safe for seniors, it's absolutely essential. It's a cornerstone of healthy aging. And for anyone feeling overwhelmed, thinking, it's too late for me, the most important message is this. It is never too late to start. Never. In fact, some of the most dramatic improvements in health strength, balance, energy, we see them in people who started exercising for the very first time in their 70s or even their 80s. It proves beyond any doubt that you can reclaim strength, energy, vitality through movement, no matter how long it's been. Your body has this amazing capacity to adapt and improve.
That's really encouraging. So what does exercise for seniors really mean then? What are the practical, doable things for you listening right now? Because it definitely sounds like it's not about training for the Olympics.
Right, that's the key distinction. It doesn't mean running marathons or lifting huge weights unless you want to and can. It simply means moving your body regularly in ways that gently but effectively challenge your muscles, your bones, your heart, your balance. These aren't huge, intimidating things. They're consistent, achievable movements you can weave into your daily life.
Can you give us some simple examples, things maybe Arthur or anyone listening could start with today?
Of course. It can be as simple as taking a daily walk around your neighborhood, even just 10-15 minutes to start. Slowly build up the time, the distance. Think of it as, I don't know, moving meditation, doing chair exercises while you watch TV. You can build strength, flexibility right from your seat. Incredibly effective, very accessible. Swimming is fantastic. Local community centers often have pools. It's low impact, easy on the joints, but a great full body workout. Practicing Tai Chi or gentle yoga, these are wonderful for improving balance, flexibility, coordination. They can drastically cut your risk of falls.
Yeah.
Or just dance. Put on your favorite music at home and move around. Great for your heart, your mood, even your brain. Even just doing regular household chores counts. Gardening, cleaning, making a point to take the stairs sometimes instead of always avoiding them. It all adds up. Every little bit of movement matters.
And the benefits of doing these kinds of things regularly, they're pretty compelling, aren't they? According to the research, how does moving actively fight off that decline you described?
Oh, they're incredibly compelling. Research from places like the American College of Sports Medicine consistently shows it. Seniors who get regular physical activity, even moderate stuff, they experience about 30% less muscle loss. And get this, 50% fewer falls. That's huge.
Wow, 50%.
Huge. They also have dramatically lower rates of heart disease, diabetes, better cardiovascular health, better metabolic health. Beyond that, they report sleeping better, having better moods, often less anxiety, less depression, and critically, their cognitive function improves. Their mind stays sharper. Maybe the most important statistic. Studies show they maintain their independence on average 12 years longer than sedentary seniors. 12 years.
12 years is significant.
It really is. So if we connect this back to the bigger picture, every minute you spend moving, it's a direct investment, an investment in your future freedom, your physical comfort, your overall quality of life. And the most important thing to remember, any movement is better than no movement. Start right where you are, maybe just 5 or 10 minutes a day. You can gradually build up strength, endurance, confidence. Your body is amazing. It can adapt and improve at any age if you just give it the nudge it needs.
Any movement is better than no movement. I really like that. Makes it feel much more possible for everyone. Okay, let's shift gears to our third habit. This is one that often gets brushed off as just, a normal, unavoidable part of getting older. And that's maintaining poor sleep hygiene, basically accepting chronic sleep deprivation.
Yes, this is such a critical one, mostly because it's often built on this dangerous, widespread myth. The idea that older adults just need less sleep. The reality, as all our sources clearly show, is different. While yes, your sleep patterns might change, maybe you wake up more often, find it harder to drop off your fundamental need for restorative sleep. It's just as important as ever for your health. Most adults over 70 still need 7 to 8 hours of quality sleep per night for optimal physical health, mental health. Yet the studies show more than half of seniors regularly get less than 6 hours, and many just accept it. Oh, that's just part of getting old, instead of seeing it as a serious, solvable health issue. And the effects of poor sleep, they're cumulative. Every night of bad sleep adds up. It contributes to accelerated aging, higher disease risk, cognitive decline, things that could largely be prevented. Think of Doris. She just accepted waking at 3 a.m. every night as her new normal, not realizing the huge toll it was taking.
Okay, let's unpack this a bit more. What are the consequences? What happens when you don't get enough sleep after 70? Things that are more serious than just feeling grumpy or tired the next day.
Right.
Because it sounds like the stakes are way higher.
Oh, absolutely. Way higher. Chronic sleep deprivation. It really messes with almost every system in your body. Take your immune system. When you're chronically sleep deprived, it becomes significantly less effective, less able to fight off infections, viruses, even potentially cancer cells. So you get sick more easily. And when you do get sick, it takes longer to recover. Your cardiovascular system suffers hugely too. Chronic lack of sleep substantially increases your risk of heart attacks, strokes, high blood pressure. Your metabolism gets disrupted, leads to weight gain, insulin resistance, higher risk of type 2 diabetes. And maybe the most concerning, especially for folks worried about brain health, your brain's ability to clear out waste products gets severely impaired. See, during deep sleep, your brain has this kind of wash cycle. It flushes out toxic byproducts that build up while you're awake.
Huh, like a cleaning crew.
Exactly. Without enough quality sleep, those toxins build up, and that dramatically increases your risk of Alzheimer's disease and other dementias. It's really a full-body assault, all stemming from not getting that crucial repair and reset time.
That's incredibly sobering, especially that link to Alzheimer's. Wow. So what are some of the common poor sleep hygiene habits? Things that seniors, maybe like Doris, often fall into that sabotage their sleep.
Yeah, a lot of these are habits people might not even realize are problems. They develop over time. Things like watching TV or using tablets or phones right before bed, or even in bed, that blue light they emit.
Oh,
It
yeah.
actively messes with your brain's production of melatonin, the key sleep hormone. Drinking caffeine late in the day, say after 2 or 3 p.m., or having alcohol before bed, that's another big one. Alcohol might make you feel drowsy initially, sure.
Right, the nightcap idea.
Exactly. But it actually disrupts your sleep cycles later on, prevents you from getting that deep restorative sleep you need. Having really inconsistent sleep and wake times, even on weekends, that confuses your body's internal clock, your circadian rhythm, makes it harder to get into a good pattern. And just the bedroom environment itself, if it's too bright, too noisy, too warm, full of distractions, that obviously makes it hard to rest well. A lot of seniors also make the mistake of trying to catch up on lost sleep with long naps during the day, but that can make it even harder to fall asleep at night. Creates a real vicious cycle.
Okay, so if that's what not to do, what does this all mean for you? If you're listening and struggling with sleep, what are the practical steps? The good sleep hygiene solutions.
Well, the good news is there are definitely actionable steps, often pretty simple ones that can make a big difference. First, consistency is key. Try to go to bed and wake up around the same time every day, even on weekends. This really helps regulate your body's clock. Second, create a relaxing bedtime routine. Signal to your body it's time to wind down. Maybe an hour before bed, take a warm bath, read a physical book, not a screen. Listen to calming music. Do some gentle stretches. Third, optimize your bedroom. Make it cool, dark, and quiet. That might mean blackout curtains, maybe an eye mask, maybe earplugs if noise is an issue. Whatever works for you. Fourth, think about diet. Avoid caffeine after, say, 2 p.m. Limit alcohol, especially in the evening because it fragments sleep. And finally, about naps. If you feel you need one, try to keep it short, 20, maybe 30 minutes max, and aim for earlier in the afternoon, ideally before 3 p.m., so it doesn't interfere with your nighttime sleep. These might seem like small things, but they can have a really big impact.
And it's not always just about habits, right? Sometimes there are actual medical conditions getting in the way of sleep.
That's a really crucial final point, yes. And something Doris eventually discovered. It's important to address any underlying sleep disorders, which do become more common with age. Things like sleep apnea, where breathing stops and starts, or restless leg syndrome, or chronic pain. These can severely wreck sleep quality. So if you've tried improving your sleep hygiene, you've done all the right things, and you're still struggling, please don't just accept it as inevitable. Talk to your doctor. Work with your healthcare provider to figure out the root cause and get it treated. Good sleep truly isn't a luxury. It's fundamental to healthy aging. It affects everything: immune system, heart, memory, mood, longevity. Getting good sleep back is one of the most powerful things you can do for a vibrant life after 70.
That is incredibly important advice. Okay, let's move to our fourth habit. And in some ways, this one feels the most insidious. It's falling into rigid thinking patterns, refusing to learn new things, refusing to adapt to change. This hits right at the core of our mental vitality, doesn't it? Our spirit.
It really does. This habit, as our sources describe it so vividly, it's like putting your brain into early retirement mode. When you consciously or maybe unconsciously stop growing mentally, stop stretching intellectually, you accelerate cognitive decline. You significantly increase your risk of dementia. And ultimately, you rob yourself of curiosity, creativity, that vital sense of purpose that makes life worth living, no matter your age. See, the human brain has this amazing ability called neuroplasticity. That's its lifelong capacity to form new connections, adapt to new experiences, even generate new brain cells right through your whole life.
Yeah, really.
Lifelong. Your brain is always ready to build new pathways if you give it the right stimulation. But just like a muscle, it works on a powerful use it or lose it principle. If you stop challenging your brain with new learning, new experiences, it starts to atrophy. It loses function faster. On the flip side, seniors who keep learning new skills, new ideas, embracing change, they consistently maintain sharper minds, a greater sense of engagement well into their 80s, 90s, and beyond. Think of Eleanor deciding at 75 to finally learn Spanish just because she'd always wanted to.
That's a wonderful contrast. So what exactly is this dangerous mindset you mentioned, the one that kills mental vitality? What does it sound like when people, maybe like hypothetical Frank, fall into that trap?
Yeah, this mindset often starts with thoughts that seem pretty harmless on the surface, but they become these deeply ingrained limiting beliefs. You might hear people say, or maybe even catch yourself thinking things like, oh, I'm too old to learn new things, or that old chestnut, you can't teach an old dog new tricks.
Right, hear that one a lot.
Or, I've done my learning, now I just want to relax, take it easy, or maybe I don't need to understand all this new technology, all this modern stuff, it's just too complicated. What people often don't realize is this kind of rigid thinking. It's like putting your brain on a starvation diet. You're depriving it of the essential stimulation, the novelty, the challenge it needs to stay healthy, sharp, engaged with the world. You're literally closing off pathways for growth.
And when you put your brain on that starvation diet, what specifically happens? What are the devastating consequences for your brain when you stop learning and growing after 70?
Well, several really damaging things happen. First, you get a reduction in what scientists call your cognitive reserve. Think of this like your brain's buffer, its ability to keep functioning well despite age-related changes, or even despite physical damage like early Alzheimer's changes. Our sources give a powerful example. Some seniors who are lifelong learners can actually have significant signs of Alzheimer's pathology in their brains, the plaques, the tangles, but still function normally.
Wow, really?
Really, because their brains have built up enough reserve capacity, enough extra pathways and connections to compensate for the damage. It's like having a mental savings account. Second, when your brain isn't regularly challenged, it starts to lose flexibility. Its ability to solve problems makes it harder to adapt when things change unexpectedly, harder to think creatively outside the box when faced with new situations. And maybe most importantly, you lose that sense of growth, accomplishment, purpose that comes from mastering something new, understanding something new. That feeling is absolutely essential for motivation, for self-esteem, for finding joy in your later years. The brain craves novelty and meaning. If you starve it, it suffers.
It sounds like there are also some really outdated beliefs floating around about aging and ability that stop seniors from learning. Can you tackle those? Maybe some things even Eleanor might have believed at first.
Absolutely. A big one that needs busting is the myth that memory and learning ability just inevitably plummet with age, falling off a cliff. Now, research shows processing speed might slow down a bit, okay, but your fundamental ability to learn new information, new skills, it stays largely intact throughout your life if you keep using and challenging your brain. It's not about being slower, it's about staying active mentally. Another big barrier is fear. Fear of looking foolish, making mistakes, maybe in front of others or even just to yourself. But this kind of perfectionist thinking, it actually works against brain health. Making mistakes, struggling a bit with something new, that's exactly what stimulates neuroplasticity. It forces your brain to work harder, helps it forge those vital new connections. Growth happens through effort, even through errors.
That's a fantastic reframe.
Yeah.
Mistakes are actually good for the brain. So we push past those fears, those myths. What does this look like for someone like Eleanor or anyone listening? What kind of learning can seniors do just for that pure enjoyment you talked about?
Right. And what's so wonderful about learning after 70 is often you do have that luxury. Learning just for the joy of it, for personal growth, not for a job or external pressure. This freedom opens up a huge world. You could learn a new language, maybe one your grandparents spoke, or for a place you've always dreamed of visiting. You could finally master that musical instrument you always admired, or explore art, painting, pottery, creative writing. Tap into a side of yourself you never had time for before.
Yeah.
Getting comfortable with technology, social media, it's not just for kids. It's a fantastic way to keep your mind sharp and stay connected with younger family and friends. Bridge that gap. You could dive deep into history, science, philosophy subjects maybe you only touched on in school. Take up photography, learn to use a computer for research, for video calls, or just really get into hobbies. You had to put aside genealogy, intricate model building, whatever sparks your interest. The options are truly endless. It's about finding what excites you.
And the benefits for the mind, they seem just as powerful, maybe even more profound than the physical benefits we discussed earlier, right?
Yeah.
How does actively learning fight off that
cognitive decline?
Oh, they're certainly incredibly powerful, and the link is very direct. Research from the National Institute on Aging shows seniors who regularly engage in mentally stimulating activities, they experience a remarkable 40% less cognitive decline compared to folks who are less mentally active. 40%.
That's a huge number
It
again.
is. They also have significantly lower rates of dementia and Alzheimer's, largely thanks to building up that cognitive reserve we talked about. And it's not just about preventing decline. They report better problem-solving skills, improved memory, and crucially, higher levels of life satisfaction, a stronger sense of purpose. Because learning gives you that feeling of accomplishment. It keeps giving life meaning, which is so vital as we age. It's truly an investment in a mentally vibrant future.
So for anyone listening right now, maybe like Eleanor, feeling inspired to jump back into learning, what's your key advice? How can they make it successful and enjoyable?
I think the key is, first, choose activities that are challenging enough to really give your brain a workout, but not so overwhelmingly difficult that they just become frustrating. You want to stretch, not snap. Second, approach it with patience, with curiosity, and really importantly, with the willingness to make mistakes. See mistakes as part of the learning process, not failures. Remember, every time you grapple with a new idea or fumble learning a new skill, you are literally building new pathways in your brain. Every new skill you master, every interesting book you read, every problem you puzzle over, every new experience you embrace, it's literally rewiring your brain, making it healthier, more resilient, more vital. It's an active process of building a younger, stronger, more adaptable brain, no matter what the calendar says.
Wow. That was an incredibly insightful deep dive into these 4 habits. Powerful, yet so often overlooked. We've talked about the serious dangers of social isolation and the amazing power of real connection. We've looked at the devastating impact of being sedentary and the liberating truth that any movement helps build independence. We've shown a light on just how critical quality sleep is and how you can reclaim that restorative rest. And finally, we tackled that insidious habit of mental stagnation, revealing the exciting potential of lifelong learning to keep our minds sharp and engaged.
And the central message, the really empowering thread running through all our sources is this. Aging does not have to equal decline. It just doesn't. These 4 habits, isolation, inactivity, poor sleep, mental stagnation, they aren't inevitable. They're not unavoidable parts of getting older. In large part, they are choices. And that means you, listening right now, you have incredible power, the power to choose differently, starting today, regardless of past habits, regardless of your current situation. Your age doesn't seal your fate here. Your daily choices do.
Exactly. Those choices you make every single day after 70, they have this profound power. The power to determine whether you spend your remaining years just existing or truly thriving, vibrant, engaged, healthy. So as you go about your day to day, what's one small step you could take? Just one concrete thing. Maybe reach out to that old friend you keep meaning to call. Check out that club at the senior center. Look into volunteering for that cause that pulls at your heart. Keep your body moving in whatever way feels good and sustainable for you. Take that short walk. Try those chair exercises you saw. Just stand up and move around the house more often. Prioritize your sleep. Treat it like the health necessity it is. Maybe invest in those blackout curtains. Start that calming bedtime routine tonight and keep that amazing mind of yours active. Stay curious, stay open, sign up for that class, pick up that hobby again. Explore that subject that always fascinated you.
Remember this. You have far more control over how you age and how well you age than you've probably ever been led to believe. These small, intentional changes you make today, they can have profound cumulative effects on your health, your happiness, your longevity for all the years to come. Those true golden years, they aren't just something that happens to you. They are actively built day by the choices you make right now.